Hello, everybody, and welcome to our new Cool Kids live stream where we are here to talk about the most anticipated Sonic the Hedgehog 3 featuring my boy Shadow. Okay, you all know who we are. You know the drill. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So let me pull up my review first. Okay. All right. There we go. Okay. So, Sonic the Hedgehog 3. It's no secret that I am a massive Sonic the Hedgehog fan. I mean, I played the games, I met some of the voice actors, and yes, I even own the shitty games right here. So, let me start off by saying that the first Sonic was so much fun to me. Sure, it follows the stereotypical buddy road trip formula movie we've seen before, but it still has a lot of heart, and it was still fun, and it put a smile on my face after suffering through the miserable year of 2020. The second one I thought was even better. I love how we had more characters from the games, how they captured the right personality and character traits from their video game counterparts. Well, the Knuckles series was all right to me. It still had its fun moments. I just kind of wish that there was more focus on Knuckles, and we got more interesting characters and plot points from the games. Flames of Disaster notwithstanding. However, my expectations for Sonic 3 were through the roof. This was easily one of my most anticipated movies of 2024. Especially seeing how the last movie teased the ultimate life form. As I said, it's my boy Shadow. I saw it twice. Once on Thursday afternoon. I saw it at a fan event where I got some really cool stuff, like this poster and keychains and things like that. And I saw it a second time the very next day with my stepson, and let me tell you, it did not disappoint. I wouldn't say that this was this is still not my favorite movie of the year, but I will say with a straight face, this is the one I had the most fun with all year. First of all, the voice acting and the acting all around is awesome. So old and new, Ben Schwartz continues to be awesome and funny as the Blue Blur, as well as Colleen O'Shaughnessy as Tails, Idris Elba as Knuckles. The human actors, they do good for what they're given. I mean, despite the fact that James Marsden is doing a hideous act of defending a pedophile, but I digress. I also loved how they learned from the last two movies by limiting the screen time of the human characters and making the Sonic characters the main focus. Jim Carrey, he can continue to be hilarious as Robotnik and his grandfather. I know some people will say that he was a little too silly and over the top, but to me, Robotnik was always a goofy villain. So throughout my years of playing the Sonic games, I've not once ever took him seriously. He's been silly since 1991. So now speaking of the new cast, Keanu Reeves, he does a perfect job as Shadow. I called his casting the moment I saw the tease for Shadow at the end of Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and I am so happy they went with him. He nails the dark and broken Shadow that I know from the games. I love how they got his personality, his hatred, his feeling of anger and vengeance toward those, and the heartbreak you felt after the loss of his only friend Maria, who he had to endure, the pain he had to endure for 50 years. Jeff Fowler clearly knows about this character, especially since before he became a full-time director, he worked on the solo Shadow the Hedgehog game. Sure, it's not 100% accurate to the games, since Shadow was discovered in a meteorite and used for experimental purposes through Gerald Robotnik, who worked for Gunn at the time, instead of Gerald just creating him as a way to cure his granddaughter who had a rare disease. However, as long as they get the character correct, then I can look past the inaccuracies of the game, which even someone who was a fan of it, I knew they weren't going to be 100% accurate to Sonic Adventure 2. It's a movie after all. not a remastered version of the game. A lot of the jokes did well for me. My favorite ones were ones that dealt with either Robotnik or Knuckles. So I mean, yeah, there's some that don't land, like ones with like Tom and Maddie, but a lot of them did really had me cracking up. CGI just looks as awesome as the other films. They made them look cartoony, which is like the only way that any of these films could have worked, instead of like what they did with the trailer for the first Sonic, where they tried to make him realistic, and he came out looking like a blue hairy naked man with that god awful design. The action scenes were just so much fun, from the fight between Sonic and Shadow, to the fight in the gun headquarters, to the final battle aboard the Space Colony Ark, and as well as Super Sonic and Super Shadow in space. I love the references were so much fun too, and I cried when they played "Live and Learn" by Crush 40 at the final battle. And I also love how they had the different quotes. Like this, honestly, this is a movie that respects its fans. It's keeping its audience up to date to those that are not familiar with the games, while also respecting the fan base, which I really enjoy. If I had any problems with this, they're more nitpicks than anything, to be honest. Oh shit! Sorry. They're more nitpicks. First of all, I wish Agent Stone had more to do in the third act. Because Robotnik did fire him just before the third act, and the only time you see him is through the streets of London, just watching Robotnik's final log and saying his goodbyes. So I wish he had more to do on that. And also, Tom should have died. Even if you were to some reason look past the fact that James Marsden defends a pedophile, the truth is, Tom's story is done. I get he was needed in the first film for Sonic to bounce off of, but since Tails and Knuckles entered the picture, he's not really needed. Not to mention, it would have made Sonic's anger and wanting revenge that much more powerful, and had to stop himself from killing Shadow due to something Tom said of not changing who he is. I just think that killing Tom would have made that a little bit stronger than just, him being in a coma and just walking at the end with the broken arm, But other than that, this movie was just so much fun to watch. This is honestly a must-see to take to the family, see whether you're a Sonic fan or not. Sonic the Hedgehog 4 has already been announced, and 2027 can't get here any sooner. Also, I just want to say this right now. I called Metal Sonic and Amy being in the post-credits scene. And with that, my score is a 9.5 out of 10.
It's almost like you're a Sonic fan or something. Crazy. I mean, yeah, because that makes the most sense. Amy's like the other biggest, most popular character. Mm-hmm. So now Zach can finally jerk off to the furry porn for Sonic the Hedgehog 4. Anyway. So now my review of good old Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Now, I'm not Mr., Sonic fan like the other guy, but you know what? I respect the franchise. I played a couple games. It's a damn good franchise. And, say what you will about toxic fans. They're the ones that saved this franchise from being a one-off with ugly Sonic. So there's that. But yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog 3, I didn't love the first two as much as everyone else did, but they're still very good and very fun movies. They do get better. Like the first one, I'd give like a 7. The second one, I'd give like a 7.5. And this one, well, you're going to have to wait. But I thought all the acting was really good. Ben Schwartz, he's no Roger Craig Smith, but he's still a damn good Sonic. I think he's pretty much, everyone in terms of the non-human characters, and Robotnik, they're all pitch perfect casting. Like Ben Schwartz is still great. He perfectly rides the line between annoying and genuine. And I think like Sonic, you gotta find that like right line. And I think Ben Schwartz does that very well, like proving once again, I mean, there's a reason he's still the character. There's a reason he's still voicing the character. He does a damn good job. Colleen O'Shaughnessy, you know, she has voiced Tails since Rob. How long has she voiced Tails? I'm just curious. I want to get this right. So but yeah, Tails, you know, classic character. All right, so since the Wii U days, okay. So yeah, she has done a great job, and it's kind of nice that like she's that good as Tails that they got her from the games into the actual movie series. So that's kind of nice. That's kind of awesome because we haven't gotten that with any of the other characters. So the fact that I don't know, Tails is that special to get the video game actress to voice her in the movie, that's awesome to me. But even then, like not to demean the other, you know, not to demean like voice actors or the actors in the film or anything like that. I just think that's really cool. They're like, you know what, you're the best, so get over here to the movie side. But Idris Elba, I think this is the best performance he's given as Knuckles. Um, I think he was really, I mean, he was good as the villainous Knuckles in the second movie. I thought he was pretty good as like more of like, I think he was good as more of like the comedic side of Knuckles in his spin-off miniseries with Adam Pally as Wade. And then here he's just like he has a lot of, I don't know how to like word this, but like he has a lot of, I want to say like maybe balance, because it's like, yeah, he still has that, oh, he's way better than that other hedgehog I fought, or like, well, I want to punch him, so I'm going to punch him. And so we have that like comedic nature, but you also have him like being like a good voice of reason like later on in the film when Sonic's like, I'm gonna fucking use the Chaos Emerald and I'm gonna fucking kill Shadow. And Idris Elba as Knuckles is like he gives like a very like down to earth sort of like voice of reason aspect that you don't really see from Knuckles a lot. And I really, really appreciate that. Plus, where else are you going to see Idris Elba as a red echidna saying Pika Pika? Like that's just Kino cinema right there. But Jim Carrey as both Gerald and Ivo Robotnik, great. I think he's a little bit crazy, a little bit too crazy, and we'll get into that later. But I mean, Jim Carrey, I mean, going from like kind of generic looking bad guy in the first one to just going full on like video game accurate Eggman, it's like what an arc. Like we got like, okay, he has like kind of a cool mustache and hair. And then here he's like, nope, where he's fat, he's wearing the video game outfit, he's bald, he has the weird mustache, full in. Let's go. And I love that. I mean, it's just such a nice, it's like a great like build up and send off kind of thing. And he's great here. I think he's a little bit too Jim Carrey for me. I think, you know, he's a little bit too 90s Jim Carrey, and I'm not a huge fan of that Jim Carrey. But even then, I still think I think he did a really good job here. And then finally, we got the best performance in the movie with Keanu as Shadow. Like, I know like Hayden Christensen was considered, and I think he could have done a really good job. But like Keanu, just like he's like similar with Idris Elba as Knuckles. He's like, I'm gonna fucking give 110% into this fucking movie. And everyone was like, oh shit, we actually have to try way harder now because Keanu is being the best he's ever been. And this, like, unironically, I would say this is probably one of the best performances from Keanu. I'm not even joking. Like, he's actually like, because I mean, we all love Keanu, but we all know Keanu's not the best actor. We just love him because he's like super chill guy and one of the few like Hollywood people that isn't like a total sack of shit and is actually a decent human being. So, but like, and he's like fun in his movies. Like he's just kind of like stoic and not doesn't really have a ton of range. But here he was like so good, really layered. Maybe that was just the writing. Maybe that was just because Jeff Fowler knows Sonic because knows Shadow because he worked on the Shadow the Hedgehog game. Maybe it was something along the lines. Maybe it was just a combination of both that made it work. But Keanu was so fucking amazing as Shadow. He really, I mean, obviously he's the villain, so like he's gonna steal the movie, and he stole the fucking movie. He's so damn good, and he's just arguably the best performance of the entire series. And with that, I think that like and then the human characters outside of the Robotniks, they were all fine. Like they were, it was funny seeing Shamar Moore and the other chick come back, even though they're like holograms. It was cool to see Jessica Jones again, Kristen Ritter. She doesn't have a huge role, but I thought she was good. And then the guy who played Commander Walters, was that his name? I forget what the commander. Yeah, I thought he was good for his small role. And Anna and Tom, they were there, they were fine, it's whatever. But yeah, I think all the acting was really good. The effects are still amazing. Like, again, thank God we don't have ugly Sonic anymore. And it just, everyone looks so good, but I like how they didn't just like totally copy the games with like the eyes and the like with everything, like kind of like similar to the Mario movie where like Mario doesn't look exactly like his original counterpart. I like how they like gave it some zhuzh to like it, like some creative like looseness. Like they are clearly okay, they look like the characters, but they're still like kind of doing their own thing. So I really like that. And the effects look great. The interactions between like animated characters and non-animated characters could be better, but like I mean nobody can be Who Framed Roger Rabbit. That's just like facts right there. But even then I thought the effects were all really good. The action sequences were great. Just like again, ton of fun. Darker, like the stuff in Tokyo was great. That was probably one of the best of the movie. Then you have Golden God Sonic versus Shadow. That was great. And the final scene with like them on the cannon, that was really good too. Some of the jokes were good. Like I thought they were pretty funny. Like there were a couple again Idris Elba saying Pika Pika. That's just fucking hilarious right there. And a lot of stuff from Jim Carrey, from Sonic, all really good. Knuckles being Knuckles, all that good stuff. And it was paced really well. It was an hour 49 minutes. It felt like an hour 49. Didn't feel too long, too quick. Maybe there was a bit of quickness here and there, but like not overall, like it was still, as a film, it was overall paced well. And then of course, because it's me and because I'm an asshole, we there's some good child murder in this. Like, let's fucking go. Like, child murder is now, unfortunately, we don't see Maria get 360 no scoped, but at the end we still get child murder. So that's cool with me. Like, I'll still take that. I still take that as a win. So fuck yeah, let's go. And then the cons are big, unfortunately for me. Is that most of the humor was really bad. Mainly the stuff with the Robotniks was really cringy. It was really, I understand. I know Eggman is a goofy villain. I know he's supposed to be over the top and silly, and it's Jim Carrey, and I understand that because Shadow is such a dark character that they have to like balance it out between the super dark stuff and the lighter stuff, because this is a kids movie. At the end of the day, they got to balance that out, which is understandable. But some of the stuff, it was just, like even stuff like if I was a kid, even I would be like, okay, that was like not funny. Like you have this really great moment between like, okay, Sonic and Shadow are finally teaming up. They're gonna fucking they share the Chaos Emeralds. They're both golden gods. It's gonna be great. And then it cuts to fucking like Gerald slapping Ivo Robotnik's ass. It's like, guys, like this is like bad Marvel levels of cringy. Like, come on. So unfortunately that did drag it down majorly for me. And then some of the editing was weird, mainly with the flashbacks between Shadow and Maria. I thought they were kind of awkward. And I feel like the girl who played Maria was very wooden. She was just really awkward. It's like it's weird because I don't know how old is Maria in the game in like Sonic Adventure 2, like in the cutscenes. Rob, how old is she?
12.
Okay, 12. She
12
looked
years
like
old.
she looked older here. Like she looked like she was like maybe 14, but she still acted way younger. And I felt that was like kind of weird. And like and the actress was really really wooden. Like it was really awkward. But like I can't blame them. I can't blame her too hard. She's a kid, so like I don't want to yell at her or anything. I don't want to say like, "Oh, fuck you, you fucking ruined the movie." No, nothing like that. It's just like it's a little awkward. That's all. Um but yeah, I think overall this was a damn great film. Pretty much every aspect was fantastic. I enjoyed the hell out of it. It's just I would have probably given it a 9, but I think the humor really drags it down to the point I'm only giving it an 8. I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. But that's my review. But before I hand it off to the furry J offer below me, I will say I would like to personally thank Jeff Fowler for giving us the Martha scene, but actually executed well. Thanks, man. Now I have ammunition for Snyder cultists. So, Zach, take it away. Or Austin. I don't know who's going.
He does look like the Pikachu. Pika Pika. Oh, man, how friggin' far this series has come already, man. 3 movies. I mean, think about where it could have been, right? We could have gotten that ugly ass design. And not just the ugly design, but dude, that trailer was fucking awful. In my opinion, it gave the worst first impression of that movie that we could have gotten. But thank God for toxic fans for once. That's a thing. That's something I don't think you'll ever hear me say again. But I digress. I gotta admit though, I'm not a big Sonic guy. I've played some games. I sort of grew up with Sonic X, but even then, my memories of a lot of that show are sort of fading away. It's been a long time, but I've seen some Sonic stuff. I bare bones know who the characters are. I know that Sonic goes fast. Tails flies with his tails. Knuckles is the brute. Shadow can teleport, whatnot. Eggman is the fat, intelligent guy who knows how to make robots. That's the bare bones that I had ever known about it. So, believe it or not, I'm getting a lot of my intelligence on the further lore of the games and just the characters in general out of these movies. Like, out of anything Sonic, I'm getting a lot out of these movies. Like, it's these movies that are making me a hardcore Sonic fan, and that's actually a good thing because I really dug the first movie. Even with how good that next trailer looked with the new design, I was sort of like, okay, he looks like Sonic now, but we don't know where it's gonna go. It could go either way, but I really dug it. Even if it has the basic premise, you'll put the character in the car with the human and all that. James Morrison sort of made a career out of that, oddly enough, if you really think about it. But it was a lot of fun, even though I really God damn it! All right, my back.
Mhm.
But yeah, I really like the movie. I really like the movie. Even though I think Jim Carrey stole the movie, I thought Ben Schwartz was really charming, very likable in the role. It just felt right with him. So it was a lot of fun. And then the second film, I fucking loved. It gave us a lot more of what we wanted, more Robotnik, more Sonic and all that, but it furthered the characters. It gave us new characters, set things up more. It set up the Chaos Emeralds, which I thought was pretty cool. That's something else I do remember about Sonic lore. So that was cool to see. And then the Knuckles series. It took me a little while to watch it because the first impressions I heard about it was that it was more a Wade show than a Knuckles show, and I kind of turned me off of it. But I really dug it. Like, it has a lot on Wade. Like, people aren't wrong about that. But might just be me. But I like Wade, so it didn't bug me. And I did like the role that Knuckles had in it. The villains were cool, and it was just a lot of fun. Now we have Sonic 3. This was one of my most anticipated films of the year, much like everyone else. As much as I love Keanu Reeves and I thought he was fucking awesome in this, I don't know, maybe it's the Star Wars guy in me, but I'm really curious to see what Hayden Christensen would have done in this role. I am eternally curious as to what that would have been, but as is, this movie delivered. It was so much fun. Like, the more and more I was seeing out of these trailers, and then they released that promo clip of their first fight with Shadow in Tokyo. That clip, that so me like, all right, yeah, this is gonna be the best of the three, and it delivered exactly that. This was the darkest. It was oddly the most fast paced, like done in a way that worked because there wasn't any filler. Like, it didn't have anything like the wedding stuff in the second one. It mostly kept things very strictly focused, and I really appreciated that because that was one of the things I was worried about was the shorter runtime. We have so many more characters now, and we're still introducing more characters. Shit.
Zach?
I think his Wi-Fi went out.
All right, my back.
Okay. Yeah, you're back.
No, I'm here, but yeah, that would because I thought the pacing was really good in this, possibly the best of all the movies because the runtime for this one was something that I was really worried about. We have so many characters established already, and we're still introducing more. Are they gonna be able to balance that with just an hour and 40 minutes? I was kind of worried, but again, I think the pacing worked is because they kept it focused on where it needed to be. There wasn't any filler. Again, like there was nothing like the wedding scene in Sonic 2, even though I thought that stuff was pretty funny. Yes. And so yeah, like the thing that moved me the most in this film, I guess no surprise, was Shadow. Like, his arc actually genuinely really moved me as someone who honestly didn't know anything about him outside of the fact that he can teleport, and I knew that he had a dark backstory. I just didn't know what it was. So seeing what that was unfold in the movie, which Rob, I'm assuming that his backstory is faithful to the games, that they didn't change anything.
I mean, they changed a little bit of it, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that after everybody's done the review. So,
but yeah, for the most part, I thought Keanu Reeves did a very good job with his performance at selling the softer side of him for when he knew Maria in his earlier days, and then the tragedy of losing her because of the bond they had, and that anger that he's held for 50 years. It's something that really spoke to me because I'm holding a lot of anger myself over certain things. So lately, for movies like that, to have characters like that go through arcs like that, if it's done really well, it can really speak to me. And I thought it was done really well. And the way that they kind of counterbalance that with Sonic later in the film when he is fucking pissed. I'm like, whoa! Like, calm down, Sonic, seriously. But yeah, I thought it was, on an emotional level, it was done very well. And but then let's talk about the thing that, honestly, I'm not even kidding, moved me to tears, at least the end of the movie. I thought Jim Carrey was fucking amazing in this. Like, I have consistently loved him in all of these movies. I think that just being in this franchise in general is the best that he has been in years. Being able to tap into that manic energy that he was known for in like the 90s, like The Mask, Liar Liar, to finally see that Jim Carrey again, it was so cool to see. And in this one in particular, I think this one film alone, not just talk about the Sonic stuff, but this one film alone, I think is the best Jim Carrey has been in a long fucking time. Like, I am not kidding. When at the end, when he sacrifices himself, like, if I can't rule the world, I may as well save it. I know it's sort of supposed to be comedic, but it was kind of moving me to tears. I don't know about the rest of y'all, but it was pretty moving. And then Gerald Robotnik, like, to see him do that sort of stuff again, play multiple characters, that was very nostalgic. Because, you know, I love when actors are able to do that and they pull it off very well with the effect and all. I mean, how the freaking, when they're dancing through the lasers and all that was like the biggest laugh in the movie for me. And the fucking joke, like, can we just take a moment to appreciate the balls that these movies have with some of their jokes? I mean, like in the first film, like when Sonic's in the bag, is like, oh, come on, this was worse than the dog cage you had me in earlier. And then in this one is like where Gerald was all like, I know, right? Women in the military. Like, goddamn. And I'm sorry, I know people hate these characters for the most part, but I thought seeing Tom's wife's sister back again was really hilarious. Because I'm sorry, I thought she was hilarious in Sonic 2. I mean, Bridezilla, come on. That was, as unnecessary as you may think that subplot is in Sonic 2, I thought that was like the funniest part of the entire movie. Or at least with the other human characters anyway. So, on a comedic level, I think this movie might be at its best also. So, yeah. And then the credit scenes, goddamn. I don't know much about the Metal Sonics, but I've been saying this for years now, or at least the past couple years. Amy has been at least 2, if not 1 movie overdue at this point for an appearance. So it's like, come on. Because honestly, I thought it was going to be shit, what's her name that was going to show up? Rogue or Roge, whatever her name is.
Rouge.
I thought
the
she was. Oh yeah, I thought it was going to be her at first, but then I saw the big mouth. I'm like, and I was like, yeah, bitch. Finally. Because I'm sorry, I like Amy. I think she's really funny. So I wonder who they're gonna get to voice her in the next one, and it's gonna be really fun. Like you said, 2020 cannot get here sooner, but yeah, like, so yeah, on every level. To wrap it up, I think this is the best Sonic movie to me. On a comedic level, it's the best. On an emotional level, it's the best. Story, characters. This was, holy fucking shit, the best one so far. Like on the one hand, I want to have faith and say, oh, they're just gonna keep getting better and better. But at the same time, I don't know if they're gonna be able to top this one. Like, if they're gonna keep making them this good, hell yeah. But like, are they gonna top this one? Because I'm on cloud 9 with this film. This was fucking amazing. Like, we obviously don't know what all is coming out in 2027, but I think Sonic 4 is locked, at least so far, for most anticipated film of that year. So I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna give it a 9.5 out of 10. I had to think about it for a little bit. Like at first I was thinking this is a fucking 10, but I'm like, all right, calm down. Let's just think about it. Think about any issues you might have had. And not to say that I think it's flawless, but at the same time, like you get what I mean. It's like I can't think of any issues that I had. So and Gerald's defeat. So anticlimactic, but so hilarious. But yeah.
All right. Tails, Austinator.
Yes, and before we begin, yes, I am wearing a Tails beanie. Yes, I paid for this. And yes, was it worth it? Yes. Yes, it was. So when it comes to the Sonic franchise, I'm not as a hardcore of a fan like my fellow brethren up here and some of my other friends, but I'm still a big fan of this franchise. I like these films. I'm a huge fan of the games. So when I saw this film was going to include Shadow the Hedgehog, I was pretty hyped because let's face it, Shadow is pretty underrated since he's barely in any of the games. Besides like Sonic Adventure 2, Heroes, 06, and basically he's playable in some of them, but he's not like featured in every single one of them. That's the one. So when I saw he was going to be included here, I was pretty hyped. Now, after seeing it, do I think this film is a masterpiece like the adventure games or Generations? No, I wouldn't go that far. Now, was it as bad as Sonic 06 or Sonic Forces? No, wasn't that bad. I kind of classify this film as like Sonic Unleashed. It was pretty good, but it's just heavily flawed. The biggest positive of this film is that Keanu Reeves steals the show here as Shadow. I actually saw this film yesterday with a bunch of friends, and like one of my friends said in the theater, he had a ton of aura. He was a badass from the word go, and I did appreciate how well they adapted his character from the games. I do like the contrast between him and Sonic, where Sonic, on the one hand was loved by his family, and he was able to not live the life Shadow had, and like he became like the beacon of light almost. And then you have Shadow, who's practically the opposite, and like showing his softer side with Maria, and the backstory with Maria, I thought was pretty well done. And I do think, especially with after credits and spoiler alert, my entire review is going to have spoilers. So if you didn't see it, that's on you. Especially with one of the after credits, I really hope that like Shadow gets a spinoff because he's just cool. Like the entire time, like the way like he was presented and like a lot of the stills and like just the way he was done was so good. Ben Schwartz once again does a great job as Sonic, and I do think the rest of the cast does really well too. Idris Elba kills it again as Knuckles. Colleen I don't know how to pronounce her last name.
O'Shaughnessy.
Colleen O'Shaughnessy.
O'Shaughnessy as Tails. I thought she was great again. Jim Carrey was once again great as Robotnik, and I really thought he did a great job as his grandfather Gerald. But I will also talk about that in my negatives because again, this film is not perfect. I do like that there isn't a lot of emphasis on the human characters this time around because let's face it, like basically in anything with like even like with like Transformers, Godzilla, like the worst part is the human characters for the most part. Like you want to see the characters that are like advertised, and you definitely get a lot of that here. Yeah, like you still have the human characters like James Marsden character and his wife, like, but they still served a purpose to the plot. They just weren't. But they weren't heavily involved like they were in the other two. There are some pretty funny moments here. Like there were moments where me and my friends were cackling in the theater. Like the one where Wade's using the Master Emerald as like a hockey puck and like he's playing around with it. I thought that was pretty funny. The Robotnik's like bonding and the way Gerald goes out did have me laugh quite a bit. There were also moments in this film where my jaw just dropped. Like Shadow getting his super form and seeing that in live action, I was like, holy shit, that's awesome. And hearing Live and Learn play, man, I was like, not gonna lie, like that last like portion of that film, I was like tearing up a little bit because it was just really, really cool. The action and effects again were really good, and I thought that especially like the last portion of this movie, I thought was perfect. I also will say, lastly, that I think the after credits where they show, like, not me and my friends, we were so hyped when we saw the mid credit scene Like we saw Amy, we're like, first we saw Metal Sonic, we're like, yeah, that's Metal Sonic, let's fucking go. And then we saw Amy, we're like, holy shit, oh my god, like that was so cool. Like just seeing Metal Sonic was cool, but seeing an army of Metal Sonics, I was like, oh my fucking god, this is going to be elite. Oh my god, they're peaked. Sega's peaked. Sega's about to peak. Oh my god. So I really can't wait for when they tackle where they adapt Sonic CD, because I'm really curious on like how they're gonna do it this time around. However, like I said a couple times, this movie wasn't perfect. The biggest issue for me, unironically, is the comedy. I think it's not so much the comedy was particularly bad. There were some jokes that didn't land for me, but that's in a lot of movies. The biggest issue is just way too much of it. There's way too much comedy, and I think there are points where it was placed very weirdly, and it just takes you out of the movie a little bit. Like there would be like something like you get a scene before that, and you have like a really cool scene with Shadow, and it's like very intriguing. Like what are they building up to? And then the next scene is just a joke, and it's like, oh, okay. I guess. Again, it was very odd. There were also times where they tried to do like meta humor here and there, and it was just very off-putting. Like there really wasn't any need for it. Like it just felt kind of like it almost felt like oh guys, look at the little we haha look meta humor, that's funny, right? We're breaking the fourth wall a little bit. Funny, look at us, laugh. It's like it made me roll my eyes a little bit. This is kind of a nitpick for me, but I do wish they killed off James Marsden here. I feel like it would have given like that last encounter between Sonic and Shadow a little bit more depth and a little bit more of an emotion, like story to it. I mean, I get what they were going for, and I understand it's a kids movie, but I really wish they maybe could have done something here to sort of make it feel important and feel like oh my god, like holy shit, Sonic's gonna kill this guy. You know what I mean? Like I really wish they did something like that. And as much as I like Jim Carrey and he was great here, I do hope in Sonic 4 they give him a break and like they have Metal Sonic be the main antagonist. I mean, I get it. Robotnik's like the main antagonist in all the games. I know, trust me, I know. I played Sonic before. I know he's the main antagonist in most of the games. But he does need to be the villain in every game. And then we pretty much know, if you've played the games, you know Eggman's alive. You know Robotnik survived. He survived somehow. No, and right dude's right. He isn't the only Sonic villain. Like I would say, just give him a break. Like he's still alive. I don't doubt that. But also too, I just found him to be very, very silly and way too fucking cartoonish in this. I understand. Like again, I know. Robotnik, Eggman, whatever you want to call him, he's a very goofy villain. He's just a fat guy who builds robots. He built a Eggman land. We all know he's stupid. He's stupid in a funny way. Like he's not like the Joker where he's like, he's like really dark. Like he's just like a really cartoonish, like stereotypical cartoonish. It's like, look at me, Sonic. I built robots. Look at this, Sonic. I'm gonna beat you with my robot. It's like we know who Robotnik is. But I felt like he was just way too goofy here, and it kind of, again, it takes you out of the film. I thought it just at points it was just a little too much for me. But with that being said, though, this film is still pretty good. And while I don't think this is going to be very high on my best of the year list, this film still had me quite satisfied as a Sonic fan. It honestly, this movie makes me want to go and play Shadow Generations, because honestly, they did such a good job with Shadow. And honestly, now every time I think of Shadow, I think of Keanu Reeves. That's how good he did. I highly recommend this film if you like the first two Sonic films. And if you haven't watched them, what are you doing? Go watch them. And also, P.S. This might be a hot take, but Shadow the Hedgehog is better than Sonic Heroes. Don't at me. My final score is an 8 out of 10.
I'm actually on a different wavelength than y'all, because granted, I don't know the game, so I don't know about like a lot of what's going on, but I actually think Robotnik is done here. I mean, he was in space, the base was blowing up. He is human after all. I don't see how he survived that.
I mean, not only that, but Jim Carrey, like, I mean, he came back for this. I don't know, like, if he would be wanting to keep coming out of retirement for every time.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, as I said, he's on the cusp of retiring. He came back to this one because he needed the money. And so he was like, all right. I think because like at the end of the second one, that it was like ambiguous. So it's like if he didn't want to come back, they could have kept him dead.
yeah.
And then but luckily he did. So like, okay, it was just like we just kind of saw him, the giant Robotnik, just fall over, and
I
like
mean,
that was it.
Yeah.
And he was available to come back. With this one, it was more definitive because it was a hell of a lot more unlikely that Jim Carrey would come back again to play the character.
Especially after he gave his final goodbyes to Agent Stone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
feels definitive, man. It would feel wrong to kind of bring him back. He's the villain again and all, you know.
I mean, honestly, if they were to able to if they had to bring Robotnik back, I could probably see like maybe Agent Stone being like a new Robotnik, or maybe a different kind.
I have a theory. Now, I don't know much about Sonic lore. I know like the tiniest bit, but I don't know as much as you or Austin. But I have a theory. My theory is that Metal Sonic and the army of Metal Sonics was a prototype that Robotnik was working on that was not quite ready yet, and he was going to use that against Sonic, but he died before he could do anything with it. So Agent Stone activates the Metal Sonic protocol to get revenge on, quote unquote, killing. Even though he didn't actually kill Robotnik, there was a lead up to events that caused Robotnik to sacrifice himself, and Stone might blame Sonic and company for his death.
Yeah,
that's my theory.
I can see that.
Yeah, that's possible.
So it's like, okay, so it's like,
I could honestly see that.
So it's like we still have like the last gasps of Robotnik without having to bring him back. And then the fourth movie could be like a transition away from Robotnik as the bad guy. And then for future films, because, as long as this shit keeps making money, they're going to keep making these damn movies.
Oh, they will.
And then Sonic 5 and Sonic 6 could get some other villains from the huge amount of villains that they do have. From
I can honestly see them. I could honestly see the Deadly Six being a villain at some point.
Yeah. Honestly, I would say Sonic 4 realistically, like I agree. Just like at this point, transition from Robotnik.
Yeah.
But I'd say Sonic 4 is going to be Metal Sonic. I think 5 because they skipped over it. I really want them to do like Chaos to be like the main antagonist of 5.
Yeah.
Like now start like doing stuff that's a little bit more like
experimental.
Yeah.
And then, God forbid, I know Rob doesn't like the game, but honestly, I feel like if you could rewrite the story in a certain way, you can do an adaptation of Sonic 06. Like, you would have to change a lot. But
you do, yeah.
But
they already changed a lot of Sonic Adventure 2 to fit this timeline.
Yeah.
And they made it work.
Yeah. So, I mean, they've already mentioned that elements of this piece of shit actually exist with the Knuckles series, where they mentioned the Flames of Disaster. And I think they even showed
I would say, so you can do it. Like, I'm not saying you do like the whole like Elise kissing Sonic, or
oh god,
or they kill Sonic, or they kill Sonic off. Like I would say, like, you could still have like the story of like the time travel where Silver's like, oh, the Iblis trigger. Like, this is like Sonic's the Iblis trigger. Like, you can do something like that. Like and then like you could have like Mephiles somewhere in there. Like, just like, but do it right. Like, I'm not.
Yeah.
Like, it can work.
Don't try to put the stupid subplot about how Iblis was inside Princess Elise, and the only way to release her or release it is if she cries.
Yeah, that was stupid.
That. Oh, hold on. Let me see if I can find. Where is it? Shit. Oh, there it is.
That's stupid. Really stupid.
Yes, correct.
Seriously, how does nobody cry for 15 years?
It doesn't
Because all of them are
Exactly.
stone cold motherfuckers that don't cry. Because you're a bitch if you cry. Yeah. I don't fucking know. Also, I think I could definitely see them doing this. I mentioned in the private chat, like who would play Amy Rose. I would love to see Jenny Slate voice her, because then it would be a Parks and Rec reunion with Ben Schwartz and Jenny Slate as Sonic and Amy Rose. That I think would be really funny, and I think that I think would be really, really awesome to have. Like, it would make sense, and I can see them doing that. I mean, they got Keanu, like that was like the main fan casting for Shadow, and they got him. So, like, honestly, I could see that working.
Okay. Oh, thank you so much for reminding me. Thanks for reminding me, Zach. Well, since our friends Devin, Mark, and Rome, they unfortunately couldn't be on here, and they didn't bother giving reviews to the heathen assholes. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. But anyway, they did give their score. So Mark's score is an 8 out of 10. Devin's score 8.5 out of 10. And I think on Letterboxd, Rome had it at 4 out of 5. So I'm going to say he's 8 out of 10.
Nothing below an 8. It just goes to show how great this movie is.
Exactly.
Suck a dick, Mufasa. Hey, Zach, do you want to leave your review for Mufasa?
Oh God, I don't know why I keep punishing myself for these, but
You just have to say it sucks. You don't
I
have
leave
to actually
myself
get into it.
I know. But yeah, it sucked. I think it's worse than the 2019 remake, which I know that sounds impossible, but there you go.
Yeah. So
I think I'm just done with these remakes now.
So Austin, when you found out that they were going to do an adaptation, like what were some of your expectations or something, or maybe you figured that any changes, like anything that you probably think were and weren't going to be in, you know?
Honestly, I was kind of expecting them to kind of do something like this. I really just wanted them to get Shadow right. Like, if they got Shadow right, they would have sold me.
As long as they got the character of Shadow correct and understand his anger and his wanting of vengeance, then that's happy. Because honestly, I knew the moment I saw the trailer that this wasn't going to be 100. No, not even that. I knew even before. By the time they announced the cast, I knew it wasn't going to be 100% accurate to this, because there's no Amy, there's no Rouge, you know.
There's no Omega.
There's no Bio Lizard. There's no the Bio Lizard. I knew they weren't going to use the Bio Lizard.
Rob, I don't know if you noticed, but there is like a Bio Lizard cameo and like a there is like a little like it wasn't exactly the Bio Lizard, but it was like a huge like monster thing and like in a screen there was like a Bio Lizard cameo, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, also, did you notice, Rob, when Sonic and friends were like going to exit out the chopper and to like face Shadow, he says the exact first line.
That's honestly what I was telling. Yeah, because I pretty much was like, because the line that Sonic said before he jumped out of the helicopter, like, no food in this place is boring. No food or movie. I'm out of here. You know, because that was the opening line that he said during the opening of Sonic Adventure 2, you know?
God, it's so good. Like, honestly...
Wow,
like,
getting people who actually like and respect the source material, that's crazy.
I know, it's crazy. Holy shit. Also, seeing Shadow go one-on-one with Supersonic for that brief moment, and he still kicks Supersonic's ass. I was like, oh my god.
Oh, I know, right?
This guy is him. He's him. And, when he was on the motorbike with the Glock. I'm like, this is Shadow. This
Yeah.
is who he is.
I was gonna say, John is now happy that we finally got the dark, edgy Sonic with a gun.
Sonic, but with guns. And he has the end pass.
Yeah. Like, all I could think of is just like Keanu. Like, another nitpick too is I really wish we got to hear Keanu Reeves say Chaos Control. Like,
that's one thing I was kind of wondering, because that's another thing that they did change. Because in the games, the reason why he's able to teleport is because he's using what's called Chaos Control. But the thing is that in order to do that, you need a Chaos Emerald.
yeah.
You know, and he didn't have one.
He's just that badass. He doesn't.
Yeah,
even need
exactly.
one.
He's just cool. Rob, he's just
Exactly.
cool. He's
Of course he's cool. Yeah.
He's cool. Also, like, all I could think of is Keanu Reeves going, yeah. Like, all I could think of Shadow going is, yeah. Because that's all he said in John Wick. He just goes, yeah.
Whoa.
And it's like, I really wish he called Sonic Faker in this movie. He's like, yeah, you're a faker.
Exactly.
No, I wanted him to say, well, this is your fucking wake-up call, man, because I am an ultimate life form.
He's like, yeah, I am the
I think his Wi-Fi
ultimate
ducked
life
out.
form.
Okay, gotcha. Because I didn't do anything, so but that was awesome.
Also, I'm curious because I know Austin more so agrees with me than Rob does in regards to the humor with the Robotniks. But Austin, I'm curious to know your thoughts on this. Do you think that because they were like, okay, Jim Carrey, thanks for coming back. You're putting off your retirement. Thanks for coming back to this movie. He's like, cool, I needed like $10 million. And they're like, all right, that's fine. You're Jim Carrey. You can get away with that at this point. And he's like, all right, now that I'm coming back, now that, Robotnik's going to die, can I just like go full ham? And they're like, all right, you can go full ham. And that's why Robotnik was way more like insane and way more like goofy than in the two previous movies, because that's the feeling I get. Like, okay, Jim Carrey, he knows the character is going to die. He's probably not going to come back. He's like, okay, so I'm going to go full 90s Jim Carrey on this. Do you grasp that, or do you think I'm just grasping at straws?
No, that's
No,
plausible.
I got it.
That's plausible. I personally, hold on, Zach. I get, like, that's probably the most plausible explanation, because it was a little too much. Granted, I'm not saying it was like so bad to the point of like, oh my god, this is like the worst thing ever. But the problem is it comes off way too. I think you said it best, John. Like, I understand Shadow is the dark antagonist of the film. You want to have something a little bit more lighter, but you could have done it in a way where it was a little bit more toned down. Like, I wouldn't have minded Jim Carrey going ham, and I really don't, to be fair.
Yeah.
I wish he toned it down just a little bit. Like, I'm not saying he had to tone it down all the way down, because I get it. It's Jim Carrey, just get just a little bit. Like, maybe like if you cut like 5-10%, it might have worked better for me. Yeah. But it was at points it kind of makes you roll your eyes and just go, really? Like, it's a little too silly.
And as I said in my review, I do love how they fucking actually did like the Martha scene, but like actually done well. Because I've said that many times. Like, I hate to bring in like controversial subjects into this, but it's just like that was like, I'm like, I didn't know how to like say it properly, like, because you watch that scene and you're like, you know that could have been done better, like that could have been executed better, that could have been a better movie, because you're like, I get what they're doing, but I feel like writing wise, directing wise, it should have been better. And then like fucking Jeff Fowler's like, I got this, guys. And then he fucking did it, because it was the way it was done, the way it was directed, the way it was written, the way it was executed. It was just so good and so much better. And as Rob was saying, it would have been better if Tom died, because it's like, it would have been more impactful that like, if he remembered Tom's words post-death, it would have been way more impactful. like how, Martha being the last thing that his father said before he died for BVS, for Batman, it would have been even more impactful. Like the reason you are who you are is because of your heart in here. And that would have meant a lot more if Tom had actually. Do you think? I'm actually curious. Do you think that was like maybe a reshoot or something? Like he did actually intend to die, but then at the last second they changed it? Because all avenues point to the fact that he's dead. Sure, the last time we see him before, he's like, "Oh, I'm magically back, guys. I just have a broken arm." Even though, how the fuck does that make sense? Because he lunged at your chest. I don't know how you have a broken arm because of that. But like the last we see of him, he's in a hospital bed, and people die in the hospital all the time from post like injuries. So
I don't know.
I'd be willing to bet that I think Tom actually died, but maybe due to test screenings, maybe due to like surveying like kids, they're like, no, that's too dark. So they just added a scene where Tom was alive, and they're like, oh no, he just has a broken arm, he's fine.
Yeah, that's honestly.
Were there any reported reshoots for this movie?
I mean, reshoots happen all the time.
Yeah, that's nothing new.
But I don't know though. I mean, they killed Maria. I mean, which that has to happen. But you get what I mean. Like, and hell, they killed Commander Walters, whatever.
Yeah, but Tom is like one of the main, because the thing is, we didn't really know Commander Walters all that well, and Tom was a main character from the beginning, so it's a little bit more impactful. Like Maria is just backstory of why Sonic became the way he was. Commander Walters was like almost a background character, like to the point I straight up did not remember him. I had to ask Rob. I'm like,
he was the
previous movie.
Yeah, he was. He was the.
I didn't remember him.
He was the Olive Garden guy, you know?
Yeah, I was about to say that, like, dude, no more Olive Garden for this guy.
Yeah, I like straight up didn't remember him. So, and Tom is more of a character, and he's a name. James Marsden isn't much of a name nowadays, but he's still a name. So that's something, I guess. Yeah. So maybe that meant something to people, or they're like, let's do it to see, like, maybe they, there was like a proper death scene, and maybe there was like actually a scene of like them at his bedside, and like he actually dies, and it's like a proper death scene, all that shit. And they're like, nope, that's way too dark. So like, okay, we'll just go complete 180 and actually have him just live.
Because honestly, I'm just willing to believe that it was kind of a reshoot, because it just seemed they were building up that they were acting like almost like he did die, but then it's like, no, he survived, kind of thing, So.
I thought it was a cool way for it to happen.
The thing is that and I said this in my review, even if you were to look past James Marsden's his heinous crime, I don't know how, but even if you were to, for some reason, look past that, Tom is not really needed anymore. I mean, like I said in my review, he was there in the first film just because Sonic needed someone to bounce off of.
He needed a straight man.
Yeah, like a straight man, because there was no Tails, there was no Knuckles, no Amy, nothing. So, like, it was just Sonic and Robotnik, and that was it. So he needed somebody to. So, and now that we got Tails, and now we got Knuckles, and
we're gonna get Shadow as an ally. We're gonna get Amy as an ally.
Amy will be an ally. Like, even then, it's like, is he really needed? So,
yeah, I think the only thing is like they need like a headquarters kind of thing, and they're not going to be like part of Gun, and they're like, okay, I guess they just got to keep using Tom and Anna's house. So,
honestly, I would personally keep Shadow as his own thing. Personally, obviously you should like team up with like Sonic and them eventually, but I think for right now, just like keeping him like kind of by himself and like let him do his own thing for right now. Like, I would even suggest like just do a Shadow movie, or like do
a Shadow movie.
They've already announced a Shadow and Knuckles series.
Was that announced, or was that just Idris Elba being like, I want this to happen?
It was basically just them being like, yeah, we kind of want this to happen, basically.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. I didn't think it was actually announced, but I wouldn't be shocked if it. is
To
the
be
case.
fair, though, I don't think these movies though are ever gonna really fully diverge away from the human characters entirely. Like, I think there's always gonna be a need for that human presence in these films.
Oh yeah, I get that.
Well, sure, but at the same time,
Yeah.
it's
But as long as you keep focus
I wouldn't
on,
mind them going cosmic though, like really going to like different dimensions, different planets, and all
the
that.
thing. Well,
I actually think
mean,
a full Sonic movie like that would be pretty kick-ass.
I know they've already teased during the mid-credits scene. They've already teased Metal Sonic and Amy, and both those characters made their appearance in the same game, which was Sonic CD. So honestly,
Which involves time travel, as you
which
mentioned
involves
before.
time travel, exactly. So if they're going to try to adapt the storyline from Sonic CD, it will involve time travel. So they could probably and as much as I'm gonna hate saying this. This will probably be a good opportunity for them to bring Silver in.
yeah.
So, because Silver is from the future. So,
I just want to see Blaze the Cat. In whole honesty,
oh yeah, Blaze the Cat and Silver. Yeah.
More so
I would have suspected, since Rouge the Bat was heavily in Sonic Adventure 2, that they would bring in her next. Like, okay, we couldn't have her here, might as well bring in her in the next movie. But
although
I guess people were
wondering
clamoring for Amy for so long. They're like, all right, let's have her bring.
I'm honestly kind of wondering how they would even be able to design Rouge, if you think about it, because you guys know what Rouge the Bat looks like, right?
Vaguely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let me see.
Yep.
Let me see if I can
That's
find.
going to be. That's gonna be a challenge, dude.
Because honestly,
Oh my
I'm just kind of
God.
wondering how are you going to make Rouge the Bat like more kid-friendly designed,
I guess you
thing.
could like make it so that her outfit is like more like a mecha thing, like it's more like a mecha, like a mech suit. I could see them kind of doing that. So that could work.
I don't know though. I mean, they got away with what they did in the games that I assume a lot of kids played. So I don't know, but that's just me.
And apparently, I didn't know.
Let me see if I
this
can
was
pull up.
But
Okay, let me see if I can go ahead. Let me see if I can pull up the picture of Rouge.
Rouge the Bat was inspired by the sexiness of Latin American women such as Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah.
I can definitely see that.
But yeah, I'm trying to wonder how they're going to be able to do the redesign for her.
Yeah. Oof. Not gonna lie, although Austin, when you came in with your camera on, I thought you were wearing a Garfield hat, and I was really confused. I thought that was like a joke or something, like, "Hey, I don't have a Sonic thing, but I have a Garfield thing." That's close, right?
honestly, I kind of wish I did that. In whole honesty,
Because I feel like that's something you would do. Like,
honestly, I
Hey, even better. Make it Chris Pratt's Garfield.
no,
Yeah.
I should have worn a Mario hat. In whole honesty,
No.
Yeah, hang on. I do have something Sonic related. I don't know if I'll be able to.
I should have been like, oh shit, wait, this
Fuck.
isn't Mario. This isn't this Mario movie 2.
But another thing I want to bring up. So I know that Zach was asking me like,
See, now
look
how bright it is.
Yeah. Zach, I know you were asking like if Shadow's backstory was 100% accurate or something, and I said they changed a little bit because, as I said in my review, Joe Robotnik is the one that created Shadow, not as a weapon but as a cure for Maria because she had a rare disease. But in the movie, they established that Shadow has no memory of his past beyond what Gunn used. Beyond Gunn and Joe Robotnik. So, and he was found in a meteorite. So, Austin, I want to bring this up. If they do try to go into more on Shadow's past, like with him being a meteorite, how much you want to bet that when they do explain that the meteorite was part of the Black Comet? What do you think of that?
It would be interesting. I wouldn't immediately because I presume that also leads to like Black Doom. I think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Black Doom.
I wouldn't mind them going into that. I just don't want them going into like Black Doom right away with Shadow. Like I would like them to like maybe like build up to that. Like maybe have like Shadow do like some more small scale stuff. Like if you're gonna do a show, don't like lead into like Black Doom. Like I think Black Doom should be more like everybody, like all the main characters.
All right, so unfortunately, I couldn't. I used to have Sonic Unleashed, but I might have gotten rid of it. I don't know. I thought I still had it, but maybe if I go spelunking a little bit more, I could find it.
Yeah.
But
Sonic Unleashed, by the way, underrated.
It is underrated.
I do think it's underrated. I never finished it, but it was really good from what I played.
Yeah.
Of it.
I even like the Werehog stages.
Yeah.
But,
Sorry about that. I had a lot of junk under my on top of my games. So
did you find what you were looking for?
No, I was trying to find Sonic Unleashed, but I couldn't.
Okay.
I had them alphabetically, but for some reason it wasn't there. So maybe I got rid of it, but I don't think I got rid of it.
Which version was it?
I have the PlayStation 2 version.
Oh, you have the PlayStation 2. Okay, the one I own is the Xbox 360 one.
Yeah, I don't know where that could be, but maybe I'll try to find it after we end this because I don't know if we have anything else to say about this.
I mean, I don't. It was just a good movie.
It was a really good movie.
Yeah,
Please go see this. Support this instead of Mufasa. So just to make sure that Sonic 4 really happens, because things can get greenlit and then get canceled. So make sure that we get Sonic 4, we get the future of this series, because this is, a case where they actually respect the fans.
Exactly.
They respect the source material. We would love to see that. Unlike, Disney, which respect is no longer in their vocabulary. So please go support Sonic.
Go see this movie in theaters so we can finally get a Sonic 4.
Yeah, because dude, I love how far this series has come already.
Yeah, and you're excited because Amy is coming into the next movie. So
honestly, no joke. I remember Zach was talking in the chat. Like after I saw it, I pretty much texted him saying, dude, you need to go see this movie and you need to wait until the after credits. I don't care if I have to reserve an Uber ride for you and pay for your ticket. Go see this. And now he knows why I said that.
Yeah, dude, when Amy came in, I think I started that applause point in the theater. I immediately screamed, yeah, bitch. I didn't give a fuck that half of the audience in my theater were kids. I literally yelled, yeah, bitch.
Yeah, I know, it's like when I went to the fan event, everybody was cheering several times. It was either during when they played Live and Learn during the final battle, or the post-credit scene when they showed Metal Sonic and then they showed Amy. And then I remember somebody was yelling, I want my Sonic 4, damn it!
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for real though, before we wrap it up, that's all I can say is Sonic 4, it needs to be here yesterday.
Oh yeah. I think I think all of us can genuinely agree. This is definitely this is the Sonic franchise, the Sonic movie franchise and TV, if we count Knuckles, has been top tier. It's just all of them have been good movies, and all of them are genuinely liked unanimously. They're all a ton of fun. They get the games, they get the spirit, they get the characters, all of that. And this is, I think, Sonic, if they keep going for however many years, this might be one of the best film franchises of all time. Because we haven't, knock on wood, we haven't gotten a bad movie yet. So that's saying a lot. Mission Impossible's up there, but it is unfortunately brought down by Mission Impossible 2, because I will once again quote myself, who the fuck likes Mission Impossible 2? And it's up there.
No, John, you say it right.
I don't have the voice or the energy to do that right now. So I will just say, who the fuck likes Mission Impossible 2? Yeah. Nobody. And anybody that does is stupid. Anyway, I'm just kidding, but I have not met a single person that likes that movie. But even then, this will go down as one of the best film franchises of all time. For the time being, it'll go down as one of the best film trilogies, period.
Yeah.
So that's also saying, and one of the few movies where the threequel is the best one. So return
Yes.
the Club of Return of the King, Revenge of the Sith, Exorcist 3, Fear Street 1666, all of them.
Logan, if you want to count the three,
Logan,
Wolverine movies,
technically,
Last Crusade.
yes.
Last
What
Crusade.
else, Rob?
Last Crusade.
Oh yeah, Last
Indiana
Crusade,
Jones.
most definitely. Can't think of any other ones, but yeah. If you can think of any other ones, please leave in the comments below.
yeah.
All right.
Please like,
Toy Story
comment,
3
and
for a lot of
survive.
people.
Fuck off, no. Anyway,
So
Three.
now I guess we go ahead and announce the next. We've only got 2 reviews left for the year. Tomorrow I'll be doing one by myself because fuck you guys. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'll be doing a review of. I'll be doing a solo review of Rama 1/2 tomorrow. I'll try to see if I could get it done like sometime around noon or something because I got somewhere to be this tomorrow afternoon. And then after that, we will be next week. We will be doing our final Cool Kids review for 2024, which will be Nosferatu.
Nosferatu.
Nosferatu. And that will be hosted by Devin. So too bad he's not able to. Too bad he's not here, and he could show off his tattoo that he loves so much.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, and then after that, we'll have our trio of end of the year stream starting in January. So, all right. So anyway, that will do it. So we thank you guys for watching. We hope you have a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays,
Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa,
Happy
whatever Scientology,
whatever
celebrates.
Yeah. So anyway, we hope you guys and like I said, stay tuned tomorrow. I'll be doing a solo review, and then after that, it will be Nosferatu. So, all right, take it easy, guys.
Later.
Peace out.
Later, haters.
You're welcome.
Peek-a.